Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. And today I'm really excited because we have our very, very, very special guest today back on the show. She is part of our podcast community. She has a podcast on our channel, and it was ranked top 2% globally. She just has been rocking it. Everyone loves her. They love her advice, and she just knows her stuff really well. And today she's going to talk about the power of podcasting. And it's Beverly Cornell, and she's from BC and Associate Marketing. And I just love this topic because storytelling is so powerful, it's so important. And they just did recent articles about how powerful it can really be. And I just can't wait to hear what you have to say because I love storytelling. I think it's vital for a successful business. So, Beverly, tell everybody a little about yourself and let's get into the topic of storytelling because I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you, Stacey. I'm thrilled to be back here with you. We always have such a fun time chatting. Like we literally chatted for an hour before you push record. So Stacey and I have a lot in common, which is amazing. And yeah, storytelling is such an important part of branding and marketing. So I am a visionary, a growth visionary, I call myself, and a brand catalyst. So I can see things that maybe you can't see about your business, and I really help awaken your brand magic and I bring it to life. And I typically work only with purpose-driven entrepreneurs who are service-based business owners, those people who are creating more wellness and creativity and kindness and joy and want to magnify their impact on the world. So how does storytelling fit into all of this? Like we talked about before we went live, Stacey, I feel like so many people get stuck in the features and benefits and that realm, and not necessarily on the transformation that can
Yeah.
happen when you actually tell the story of what life was like before they used you and
Yeah.
then after they used you. It really is the bridge that connects you with your audience on such a deep level.
Yeah.
It's not just about what you do, it's about why you do it and how your journey can inspire other people.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like the gold.
Yeah.
That's the gold at the end of the rainbow. I want all of my our customers to get to. Um,
Yes.
so today, we're really going to talk about storytelling, how it's essential, I think, for good branding today, and the
Yeah.
key elements of a great brand story, and then my own journey from being a really scattered freelancer to building a business that I love. So I hope by the end, your listeners will feel inspired and ready to embrace their own stories, but also, this is the scariest part, share it boldly with the world.
Yes. It's so important. Like, and it's so funny because you mentioned that you were freelancing for the longest time, and I was freelancing for the longest time,
Yeah.
and, before I started my business. And, and then I started sharing my story like you. And once I started sharing my story, people started coming out of the woodworks. They wanted to know more about me. They wanted to know more about what I was doing. They wanted to hear more about the story and how I got from point A to point Z, like how did I do it? And it was all because I started to share my story. Did you feel like you had the same effect? Was it hard for you to share your story? Because it's not always easy for people to share their story and to really, express, personal, things in their life to the world. It's not an easy thing.
So my master's is in communication. So you think that I'd be like, I even had a class on storytelling.
Yeah,
You think that I would be this master communicator in that sense, but I think it was kind of like the cobbler's kid that had no shoes, right? Like I did
right.
it for everybody else, but didn't do it for myself.
Yeah.
And what I found in that process is that stories is how we connect as humans, right? When
Yes.
all the education that I received, it was like stories are the connection from the time of the cavemen, the hieroglyphics, all those things. We innately are storytellers.
Yes.
And stories typically are remembered like I think it's the statistic is like up to 22 times more than
Yes.
facts alone. And if people love your story, they're 55% more likely to buy from you.
Yes.
Me, that's the part that really matters in all of this. But for me to share my story, uh, first of all, did I even have like something that was interesting? Like, was I
Yeah.
that interesting, Stacey? Like, who am I to share my story? I'm just a marketer doing
Yeah.
my thing, helping people. And I always thought it was more about them than it was about me. So I
Yeah.
never really focused on me. And then the whole idea of crafting my story, was it going to be interesting? How
Yeah.
do I make it interesting? How do I make it connect with my customers? Um, I wanted it to make sure that it showed that I cared,
Yeah.
that how I can help them. And it wasn't like just listing my services, right? It wasn't just I do this, do this, do this, this is what happens, this is what happens, but about making my audience feel seen and
Yeah.
understood as part of my story. So there was more than just share the story.
Yeah.
Some companies that do this really well are like Nike, right? Nike just do it.
Yeah.
Their campaign doesn't just show tennis shoes with the features and how big the sole is and how white the shoe is. It is about athletes. A lot of times just regular people overcoming things like adversity, inspiring us to do more things, to push ourselves
Yeah.
past our limits, right?
Hmm.
Coca-Cola's marketing doesn't center on how the Coke looks or feels or whatever.
Yeah.
More about how that Coke is centered around the themes of togetherness and happiness. Think about Christmas, think about celebrations. Everyone opens up that Coke. That's the feeling that they have. And
Right.
in Disney, I love Disney because I'm all about magic.
Hmm.
And it's the most magical place on earth. And we say that because we believe it, because they create these really enchanting stories that span generations. Grandparents
Yes.
taking their kids to Disney, bringing magic and wonder to everyone. And so to
Hmm.
me, it's not about like we have five theme parks that do this, this, and this. Like that's one element. The
Yeah.
story is always pushed front and center. And what I found in these stories, that's a commonality that's really
Mhm.
super important in this, is that the twist to a great brand story isn't about making you the hero.
Yeah.
It's about making your customer the hero,
Yes.
showing your audience that they are the hero and you're the guide, just the
Hmm.
guide who helps them overcome their challenges and achieve whatever dreams they're having for
Yes.
themselves, whether it's more wellness, more organized home, maybe it's a diet, maybe it's um, some kind of artistic expression,
Yes.
whatever it is that you're trying to help them with, you help them achieve their dream,
Right.
some kind of transformation. Have you read the book Story Brand by Donald Miller, Stacey?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Donald Miller has a book called Building the Story Brand.
Yes.
And it's a game changer for anyone who wants to understand the power of storytelling in marketing. It's one of my very favorite books. It actually changed the entire way that I think about marketing for my clients
Yeah.
because people don't just buy products, they buy solutions to their problems.
Yes.
And when your story makes them feel seen, understood, and empowered,
Yes.
they'll trust you to guide them to the next level of success.
100%. I love that. I think it's so important, and just like what you said is so true, and it's so powerful because people don't want to hear, about the product and what it could do and the benefits of the product or the service. They want to hear about, the pain points they're going through.
Yeah,
What are the solutions?
right.
And then when you share your story and you explain that, hey, I wasn't always doing this well. I started out XYZ and it took time and it took, and I had to do this and this and this. And then people start realizing they get a correlation and they start relating to you. They're like, wow, if Beverly can do it, I could do it too, And then, that trust, that bond, it starts to grow.
Yes.
And then they put themselves in your hands, because they have faith in you and they should, but it all started with the story, not with the sales pitch.
Yeah. So can I share my story, Stacey? Can I
Of
talk?
course, yeah.
Okay, so back in 2012, I had worked for Fortune 500 companies and tech startups and small businesses, worked in retail for a little bit, had a lot of different experience in marketing, was a VP of marketing for a tech startup before I got married to my active duty Army husband. And that meant when I married him that I had to take my career on the road and move every 3 years, probably.
Yeah,
I needed a way to take my career on the road to do that with him. But most at that time, 2012, there weren't really remote jobs.
right.
They were incredibly hard to find, and especially at like a VP level, that was like not going to happen. And
Yeah.
so I had to create my own solution.
Hmm.
That's why I became a freelancer. I was an accidental entrepreneur. I was not a planned entrepreneur. I had no plan. I
Yeah.
had I had no experience running a business,
Yeah.
probably on my own. But freelancing felt really good. Like I had flexibility, I had no boss, and I had the ability to work anywhere in the world, any time zone. And that was what suited my life at the time.
Yeah.
But when you have no plan, freedom without a plan is ultimately, I will call it chaos.
Yeah. Hmm.
I said yes to everyone, yes to everything,
Yeah.
thinking if they'll pay me, I'll figure it out.
Right. Right.
I thought I was building a business, but what I was really building was a cage.
Yes. Hmm.
And one night, I don't know, about 3 years ago now, it was late. I was at my desk. I was finishing a project for a really difficult client that I should have fired months before because they didn't really fit my values.
Yes.
Hadn't eaten dinner. My back hurt. And I thought, how in the world did I get here?
Yes.
This isn't what I want.
Right.
It was a huge wake up call for myself. I realized
Yeah.
I wasn't building my dream, I was building everyone else's dream.
Exactly. Yes.
And the worst part was, I didn't even know what my dream looked like
Right.
because I just started freelancing and accepting jobs. And I was, by every societal standard, I was successful. I,
Yes.
I was making good money. I was getting referrals. I was producing really great things. I was so incredibly stressed
Yeah.
and unhappy and miserable.
Yes.
So much so that I almost quit marketing altogether
Yeah.
because I was just, this isn't fun. You
Yeah.
know, it was draining my life force.
Yeah.
So not long after that night of like really feeling completely just disheartened and about to give up,
Yeah.
I lost a couple of key clients.
Hmm.
It was incredibly hard. It like stung because I had worked late nights for them and helped them through and
Yeah.
all those things. But after the initial sting, I should have felt devastated, it
Hmm.
actually felt like freedom.
Yeah.
These were clients I should have let go so long ago because they didn't align with my values and my vision.
Yes.
I didn't know those were my values and my vision.
Right.
So a couple like weeks later, again, like the universe kind of aligns for you. You have this moment, and this moment. I was
Yeah.
talking to one of my clients and I had this like out of body moment where I was like standing over top of the Zoom call,
Yeah.
like watching it from afar.
Yeah.
And I was telling them to embrace their story. I was
Yeah.
telling this client to show up unapologetically, like just be totally you. And it
Right.
hit me. I wasn't taking my very own advice.
Right.
And that was really the turning point for me, like a two by four of I decided to stop being the cobbler's kid with no shoes.
Yeah.
And I started being my best case study. I
Yeah.
wasn't just going to give myself shoes. I wanted the Louis Vuitton of marketing. My
Hmm.
brand needed to reflect the magic
Yes.
that I knew was inside of us and
Hmm.
me and the boldness that I know that I can help my clients create.
Right.
But that only could happen if I got really clear, you know? So I did a lot of journaling, a lot of free writing, a lot of putting things just down, like stream of consciousness writing.
Yes.
And from there, I started to see some patterns,
Hmm.
some words that were repeated, some feelings that were repeated. And I got really clear on my story. I understood for the first time the magic that we create and my
Right.
why. And that I rebuilt my business from that moment with so much intention. I mean, so much clarity and focus. It was like it was like we unlocked a whole new level in a video game.
Yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden, the gates opened, and instead of being stressed at 3 a.m., I was so excited to go write and do these things and create
Yes.
stuff that I was on fire, Stacy.
Yeah.
Like my vibration in this world went 1,000 times higher than it was just a month before.
Yeah.
Like something was unleashed. You know, like the bat signal, like it was like, oh, like it was just coming out. I had so much to share about who
Yeah.
I was. Now that I understood, And everything, like I rebuilt my website, I rebuilt my wording, my messaging. I got really focused on what was the next step. And what happened was my business grew almost overnight.
Right.
My dream clients started finding me,
Hmm.
and I realized that I became a very real living proof example of the power of getting clear and telling your story.
Right.
It was a life-changing moment because not only did it make my work better, it made my home life better.
Yes.
I was living in my purpose, like for the
Yeah.
first time. And for 10 years, I was not. I was living everybody else's purpose.
Yes.
And when you understand that clarity and you understand who you serve and you understand the focus and you understand the story behind how you got to this place
Yeah.
and you're able to share it, that's the connection people have with you.
Oh, 100%.
So many entrepreneurs are in that space. They're doing all the things, they're
Yes.
checking all the boxes, but they haven't awakened their brand magic yet.
Yeah.
Magic already within inside of them. Like all that magic was inside of me. I was giving it to everybody else,
Yeah.
but I had to take the time, invest in myself to get the magic out of the box, out of in there, and
Hmm.
to let it out, and then to create the messaging and everything around that.
Yeah. Oh my.
So
Yeah.
really important and powerful for me.
God, I can relate to you. I feel like we're sisters or like two halves in one, Like I started out doing the same thing you did. I was freelancing and I was taking every single job.
Yep.
I was working for CEOs from billion-dollar companies, doing their presentation, writing their speeches, and they were making the money and I was doing everybody's work. And then at the end of the day, I was not happy. And then I got to a point when I was just like, this is not what I wanted, and I had to figure out what the next step was. And once I created something with a passion and a mission, and and it's something that I really, really felt ignited and on fire about, that's when everything changed, and yeah, and I was like, and I kept saying to myself, okay, if I'm $1 million business, how would I look? How would I represent myself? How would I speak? How would I do this? And that's what I kept in my head. It was no longer about everybody else. It was about not accepting every single job. It was about helping people that really wanted to get their message across and had an amazing message. And in my head, I presented myself as the $1 million business. I just didn't just do anything. I created things with thought process with, I made sure that everything was just the way it should be if I was $1 million business. And
Yes.
then people walked in there and they felt like, wow, and then I know you are able to, and I felt I was able to make their message become a reality because so many people I think are caught up in that. They're checking every box, they're saying yes to everything, and then you get like in that cage like you're talking about and you're not happy and you're not doing as well as you should be doing and then something that was so meaningful becomes misery and then that's when you want to just say all right, I'm done, and you have to take a step back and think about re-strategizing your whole entire journey and really figuring out
Everything,
everything
everything. I looked at
everything.
everything, every touch point, every person, every operational thing, everything with this new lens. It was a new filter for
Yes.
to run my entire business decisions through. And that was the magic of clarity was simplicity.
Yes, yes, definitely.
It simplified everything. It was life-changing in that respect. People forget when you start a business, we all have these really wonderful dreams of like, I'm gonna do this thing, right? Like when that first inspiration, that first spark that you have is this reason why you do what you do. And somewhere
Yeah.
along the line, it gets dulled and pushed down because there's payroll and there's some issue with somebody not showing up for work and this process isn't working and you're having to put in overtime to do this or whatever. And it gets dulled and dulled and dulled and dulled till you can't even see the thing. It's so cloudy.
Yeah.
You can't even see it anymore, but you just keep doing the things. Just keep doing the things. But
Yeah.
as business owners, we have the power
Yes.
to create the exact business
Hmm.
that you want to have that fits within your life,
Yes.
that fits your life. more so now than ever with, Zoom and remote work. And there's people who, work out of Spain and they work from here and they work at the beach and they're doing all the things they want to do. They're traveling in the RVs and they're living this nomad life or doing whatever they want to do, and they're still running their businesses because we have internet everywhere. We have
Right.
Zoom, we can talk to people. So much of what we do is online now. Like, there's so many options to
Yes.
create the business that you want, doing what you want with who you want, with your
100%.
most favorite people, which
Mm-hmm.
makes your work so much better.
Yes.
And I would suggest that people really firmly take the time to invest in that so they can have that they want,
Yes.
because your life will be so much better. And I heard for years, and I'm sure all of your listeners and you have heard this too, like, oh, work shouldn't be work. It should be like, you're no, it's still work.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Still work, but I really love the work.
Yes.
So it's important work. Uh,
Yes.
that I have evolved certainly from that idea of like, I don't think work is always play, but there are times when I'm like, I get paid to do this. This is amazing. Like, I am so excited that I get paid to do these things. Like when I watch another entrepreneur's magic get
Yeah.
awakened and I
Uh-huh.
see their unicorn-like confidence come to life,
Yes.
I am all in, and it makes everything worth it. And like all of it is important, right?
Oh,
So I
100%.
guess I just feel like once you are in that moment, in that stride, in that purpose, in your story, and
Yeah.
you own your story, then it's like simplifies everything and it brings you so much more joy. And the
Yeah.
world needs more joy.
Oh,
More
100%.
joy everywhere, right? Like it's
Yes.
so, and I also feel like it's not just marketing then, it's connecting.
Yes. It's
It's
connecting.
serving.
Hmm.
It's and when instead of feeling like a spammy sales call, I feel like I'm helping. Like it's just a whole
Yes.
different, it's a whole different frame of reference. And,
Yeah.
and if and like someone, and that's okay. Like it's okay. They're not ready. It's okay. Like,
Right.
hey, I want to work with people who really want to work and do the thing. I'm not gonna twist anybody's arm. I'm not gonna do anything. Um, but that filter for decision making also becomes so clear. Like, does it align with my values? Does it
Yeah.
align with who I serve? Does it fit within my magic and what I do best? Does it
Yeah.
support my why? Does it help my audience? Like, I'm always filtering the things, every decision, and it becomes a pretty clear yes, no in most cases.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that's simplification. I read somewhere, Stacey, that the president like has 5 suits, and he has everything kind of planned out for him. So the amount of everyday decision making he has to do is so much more limited because he has all these other decisions to make.
Yeah.
You have less decision making and you have a really clear path.
Right.
Your life becomes simpler and less stressful.
Yeah.
Period.
100%.
Period. Yeah. Plus, um, like it doesn't just simplify like my to-do list in that sense of like all the decisions.
Yeah.
Give me some freedom. Again, this idea of freedom to focus on what I love about my business.
Yes.
And for me, it was working closely with those purpose-driven entrepreneurs to uncover their magic with them and to create brands that feel deeply authentic.
Yes.
So instead of feeling like weighed down by that day-to-day grind and all the things you have to do, I started feeling energized and excited. And it like lit me up in a way I have never been lit up. So you hear me kind of like overflowing and gushing here, but it's
Yeah.
exactly like it opened like the whole new level, unlocked that level of the video game
Mhm.
that is all about excitement and fun and all of that. And I cannot imagine ever going back to
Right.
that lower level of not living in that purpose and in my intention with my story fully alive. So it's it's life-changing for me.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. It is so worthwhile when we can connect with other individuals and we are able to be able to help them in a way that they can't help themselves. And it's so fulfilling. And it's just it's a great feeling to be able to help others because it can be very, very difficult in the beginning, especially, and sometimes in the middle. People just can't, they have a great business, they have a great service, they just can't get it going the right way that they really want to get it going. And like a few tweaks here, a few tweaks there, and it's amazing what could happen. It's just amazing. Now, tell everybody the services that you provide.
So we're a little unusual from a marketing perspective. We don't just like, I mean, obviously we do digital marketing branding, but we have the first way you work with us is a brand spark. It's a 90-minute deep dive to where you've been, where you are today, where you want to go.
Hmm.
And then what we do is we take that interview and we make a brand spark blueprint, which really looks at all the ways that you can own the possibilities for what's your vision that you want for your business.
Yeah.
And we see things that maybe you're leaving money on the table. We see opportunities that maybe you don't see because you are in it. You are
Right.
in it. And then we like highlight like kind of like next steps for that process for you and
Yeah.
what that looks like. And you could do that with anyone. You could do some of those things. You could hire us to do some of those things. You could hire somebody else to do some of those things. But that 90-minute deep dive is life changing. For the first time, there's so much going on in an entrepreneur's head.
Yeah.
I get to like get it all out. I ask a mountain of questions. They get it all out and they feel seen and heard for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like, many times, I've had many brand sparks be a little emotional
Yeah.
because no one's ever taken the time to really get into their heads. Entrepreneurship is extremely lonely.
Yeah.
And when somebody cares about what you're doing and wants you to succeed and root for you in a way that you sometimes can't root for yourself,
Yeah.
because you're just so busy doing the thing that it feels really empowering
Yeah.
and that they have something special.
Hmm.
And when they read that brand spark blueprint, they see themselves through a whole different lens.
Right.
And it empowers them to believe in things that they hadn't believed in a long time or never
Yeah.
believed in them for themselves.
Right.
And so that's the brand spark. And that's one of the reasons why we have Spark and Ignite, right? So then the next step is if you want us to help you with those things, we ignite it in a
Mhm.
really intensive way. Within a month, usually, you have your branding, your logo, your messaging, and your website live.
Right.
We do things really different. We don't do a bunch of meetings. We develop everything. It's kind of like a pilot. You
Yeah.
don't tell the pilot how to get you to point A or point B, right?
Right.
You kind of sit in the seat and you trust the process,
Yes.
hoping everybody does their job appropriately. And there are no delays, right? So it's kind of the same thing. People will trust us and we build everything. And then in one day, we meet and we reveal everything. We make minor tweaks and then we launch at the end of the day. So it's a really intensive process, but it is completely magical. And it's so fun because at the end of the day, you're launching as opposed to going back and forth for months and months and not having that control over that. It kind of becomes its own beast if you do that way.
Right.
So um, and then we have a brand blaze service, which is like ongoing marketing to fuel your marketing to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Once you have it ignited, you can't just let it go, right? So you have to continue to fuel the fire, fuel the marketing, and continue to keep it alive. So we say, awaken your magic, bring it to life,
Hmm.
and then keep it alive. Again,
Yeah.
so, but we also have a membership that you can belong to. We have a podcast, we have books, we have all kinds of things. But there's all kinds of ways to work with us. But today, really, if today the best thing that they could do for themselves is to reflect on their story. Honestly,
Yeah.
like today is take the 10 minutes, write down the moment that sparked your passion, the challenges that you've overcome as an entrepreneur, the challenges you've overcome with the service or product that you offer, and how your transformation help can equip you to help other people
Yeah.
and how that's the story you want to tell versus the features and the benefits and all the things. Tell your story and you'll find your big idea. You'll find the thing that makes you uniquely you, which is all about authenticity and really connecting with people. So I have found though, Stacy, in all of this, that so many people are afraid to commit to showing up in their story,
Yeah.
me included. I thought that if I put myself in front of my brand,
Hmm.
I was like being a show off or like bragging or like maybe even a little narcissistic.
Hmm.
And so for me to stop being the cobbler's kid, I
Yeah.
had to go all in on my brand and I had to let my story reflect that
Yeah.
publicly, which means I had to become the face of my brand. And this is such a common fear to go in front of people. And trust me, like even when you push record, Stacey, today, I was like, I guess I'm ready. Like there's still a little moment of trepidation
Yeah.
in speaking your truth out to the world, right? And
Right.
some people, I'm okay with this. Some people will get it and some people won't, and that's okay. I'm not for
Yeah.
everyone. My way approach is not for everyone. Not
Yeah.
everyone believes in magic, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, it was overwhelming to step into that spotlight and
Yeah.
to make myself that face. Many people worry that they might come across like bragging or some of those things, but here's the truth. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about the connection that you are making when you
Mhm.
are open and upfront and you share.
Yeah.
No one, not ever in the history of marketing, I'm going to make this truth bomb here,
Yeah.
wants to connect with a logo.
Right.
They want to connect with a human being. Go
A
back to the
hundred
history of
percent.
prehistoric times and the caveman. They want to tell stories with other human beings.
Yes.
Someone who understands their struggles, someone who shares their values, that can guide them toward a solution for
Yeah.
their struggles, right? So being the face of your brand is the most authentic way
Hmm.
for you to make a connection with your target audience.
Yes.
Um, I do know it's hard because that means you have to be vulnerable and it
Yeah.
can feel really scary. And you might wonder, what if I'm being judged or what if I'm not good enough? Some
Yeah.
imposter syndrome probably in there. But here is the thing that is so important. Your audience isn't looking for perfection.
Yeah.
Let me say it one more time. Your audience isn't looking for perfection.
Right.
They're looking for real. They're looking for someone who's been there and where you are and can help them get to where they want to be.
Right.
So you have to shift your mindset a little bit. Stepping into your brand isn't about saying, look at me.
Yeah.
It's more about, I see you.
100%.
I understand you. I've felt the exact same way, and here's how I can help you. And I think if you take it down a little bit to, um, if you had a friend who needed help,
Hmm.
wouldn't hesitate to share your story
Right.
or your experience.
Hmm.
You show up for them because of who you are, because you care as a
Yeah.
human being. And that's exactly what stepping into your brand is all about, is showing up for your audience because you care about their success.
Yes.
So you just have to start small, one step at a time. It's how I started. I did not want to do video. All of my clients don't want to do video. No one wants to do video. Um, but little authentic moments, why you started your business, maybe a challenge, one challenge you've overcome, or a one behind the scenes look at your process.
Yeah.
And when you feel nervous, like today, even when you said, "Are you ready?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." But I shifted the focus away from me and onto my audience. Think about the person that you're going to help and how your story can make a difference for them.
Yes.
So my hope when you push record was the right person will be listening to the story and it'll help them to take the action that they need to take to awaken their magic, to spark more joy, to give them clarification and focus and simplify some things so that they can do more of what they love to do and helping other people. So if I can say anything, being the face of your brand is not about ego. It should never be. And if it is, it's the wrong reason you're doing it.
Yes.
It's about connection. Your audience is waiting for someone to show up in the space that understands them, who
Yes.
inspires them, someone who can guide them. And that someone is you, the listener. You are the one that can do that. So take the first step, as small as it might be, one little story, show your face. Remember that stepping into your brand it's not just about building your business, it's really building that trust in the
Yeah.
relationships and the impact that you can make on the world. So if they're feeling stuck, if someone's feeling stuck, the brand spark process that we offer is a great way to uncover the heart of your story and craft messaging that's magnetic and meaningful and may give you that unicorn type confidence
Yes.
to be the face of your brand for yourself. So,
Right. I love it. I love it. And you wrote a book. Tell everybody about your book.
so my book is Marketing for Entrepreneurs, quick guide to spark and ignite your marketing. It is, you can read it within an hour and a half. It's on Audible, it's on Amazon, it's on Kindle. um, the biggest thing about it is I wanted it to be so approachable for an entrepreneur who has no time, because
Hmm.
I am just like you. I have no time. I love to read books and learn, but I have no time. And It gives you activations, actionable steps to get to your why, to understand your passion, to understand your purpose, to get to your story, to know your mission, your vision, your core values, all the things that really need to drive your business forward in
Yeah.
a very intentional way. It asks the right questions to get you thinking,
Yeah.
and it gives you a little bit. There's a little bit of stories here and there peppered throughout, but it really is about you. It's about those activations. And at the end of the book, you'll have enough information to even just throw into AI
Mm-hmm.
to help you have a more concrete vision for yourself.
Right.
If you do that free form writing and throw into AI and say, hey, create my vision, mission, and my core values out of this information, it will help bring that stuff to life. And then you
Yeah.
can add a massage and make it more of yours, but it will create something for you. And then
Yeah.
having that listed, reading it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
owning it, then
Yes.
starting to tweak maybe your social media posts or start to tweak your website
Yeah.
from some of that language
Mm-hmm.
help you really stand in your branding. So that's what the book is. The book is just again, maybe 90 minutes, 2 hours of your time if you really take some time to answer the
Yeah.
questions. And just really practical ways to get
Mm-hmm.
clearer on
Yeah.
your story and who you are and all the things that I think really inform your marketing going forward.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's amazing. Now, if you had to take today's conversation and you emphasize on a lot of stuff, but if you wanted to take two or three things, what would you really like the listeners to understand your two or three takeaways?
This is your business. You get to design your business and your life, and intention is extremely powerful. When you start doing these exercises, things start to move in place.
Yeah.
Opportunities start happening, doors start opening, the right people start coming into your life,
Yeah.
and it is life changing. So
Right.
you don't have to do it all today,
Yeah.
one step at a time. I
Right.
didn't I didn't get to here in a day. It's taken me 3 years, Stacy, to really get to a point where I
Right.
share my story confidently and really
Yeah.
putting more in my language and what I've chosen.
Mm-hmm.
But start somewhere and make intentional steps. Set some time on your calendar. Excuse me, some time on your calendar every week to think about your vision, to give it a
Yeah.
little bit of love. It's like watering a plant. You have to give it some food. You
Yeah.
give it some space to do that. And then you become more proactive versus reactive in your business. And
Yeah.
I think that changes everything. So you have the power to create your own business. With small intentional steps, you can, over time, develop the business that you want to lead and that is the legacy for you.
Yeah.
And when you make these intentional steps, the ripple effects to your team, your family, your community, I'm going to use the word magic again, Stacy. It's magical. It's like you wave a magic wand in your
Hmm.
life and you make I'm actually for my listeners, to listeners here, I actually have a magic wand in my hand.
Hmm.
Um, but it actually makes things just so much better for yourself. And there's growing pains, there's things that are going to happen, some frustrations. You might hit a brick wall at one point, but just keep being persistent and intentional, and
Yeah.
you'll eventually get over some of those brick walls, and you'll be so grateful and thankful to yourself in a year
Yeah.
at the progress you've made. One small step.
Yes.
One step at a time. The next best step is all you have to take. So
Yeah.
maybe today it's just, what is my why?
Right.
What is some challenges I've overcome? What's one challenge I've overcome? Just one small step to get clearer,
Yeah.
focused will change everything. So that's probably the biggest one, Stacy, is just reminding small business owners that you have the power to create the exact business that you deserve,
Yeah.
you love, and that where you can make the most impact and change the most lives and make the world, hopefully, a better
Yeah.
place to live in.
Oh, I love it. Now, where can people get in touch with you?
So if you search Beverly Cornell, Cornell, anywhere on the internet, I'm the first page. Everything comes up. I have my LinkedIn and all that's there. But my business is BC, so like Beverly Cornell, and Associates Marketing. And you can find all of our services there. We have a marketing hub there that has, free resources, the podcast, all kinds of things there. Our membership there that you can check out as well. And then the Spark and Ignite Your Marketing podcast is also on all the players out there, the Apples and Spotify's, etc.
Oh, I love it. I love it. This has been amazing. I thank you so much for coming on the show today. I can't wait till we meet again and we can talk some more. And I'm really looking forward to our next conversation. But today has been outstanding. You really, really had some great advice about something that's so important. And I think one thing people have to realize that it's okay to tell your story. And your story doesn't have to be a perfect, Cinderella story. People want to hear real. They want to hear about your successes and your failures. They want to hear about how you struggled and what caused those struggles and how you overcame them. So it's all about being real and being honest and just being open. And like you said, we're all human. And that's
Yeah,
what people have to remember. We're all human and we all have the same needs, whether we realize it or not.
we do. Our humanity is our connector. And if we
Yeah,
remember that you're not really alone in all of this, you're not. You're not. And
exactly.
I think we oftentimes isolate ourselves in that way by thinking, oh, my story is different, and you have your own unique story, but that story is the connection to other people.
Yes.
You'd be surprised how many people can connect with that.
Yes.
See, I am so grateful for the opportunity to be with you today. Like, it's always so fun to chat. We
Yes.
have lots in common, which is great. But our next episode is going to be all about the content engine. So, how to create consistent and compelling content that resonates with this audience now that you have your story and your mission and your vision, and really resonates with the people that you want to do business with, and drives your business to the next level. And
Yes.
I hope that people join. And I can't wait till next time. So
Oh,
thank
me
you,
too.
Stacey.
Oh, you're very welcome. You have a great day.
Thank you.